For more, let me now bring in Jonathan Ruhe from the Jewish Institute for National Security of America. Jonathan, good morning to you. Something I wanted to start with, just something new this morning. Iranian state media publishing all these new photos of IRGC leader General Ahmad Vahidi. It's the first time that he's been seen in public since February 8th, well before the war even started. What more do we know about this general? And also, just what does it tell you that he's come out of hiding right now?
Yeah, so I think the timing and the selection of the IRGC official tell us a lot. First of all, Vahidi, like basically anyone that's left in the Iranian collective leadership at this point, including the new Ayatollah, the son of Ali Khamenei, whose funeral is being held, they are all where they are because of their willingness to defy the United States. That is sort of their mandate to rule as they see it at this point. And Vahidi certainly embodies all of that. This is an IRGC-centric regime at this point to an even greater extent than it was at the start of this year. And as we're seeing the timing right now coinciding with the funeral that we just saw the clips about, this is a week-long propaganda fest for the Iranian regime, and that has both an internal audience to show the Iranian people that the regime is not going anywhere, and also to show the world that Iran will continue to be defiant both at the negotiating table and if need be, in a return to war.
And so let me ask you this question that I've been wondering all morning long. With this 5-day funeral, and you've got all these leaders coming together. Again, we still haven't seen Mushtaba. You know, he's been in hiding. Is there any chance at all that Israel or the United States decides to attack when everybody's in the same place?
So, I never say never anymore with the way things have gone in the past few months. I would, however, be surprised if there is an attack by either the United States or Israel. It certainly seems from the indications that have been reported in recent days and weeks that Israel was considering striking some of Iran's newest cadre of leadership, and that the U.S. received indirect pressure through the Iranians, which then America applied to Israel to basically say, hold off. Trump wants to try to get a deal with the leadership here. And Trump has explicitly said repeatedly, even though he didn't pursue regime change in this war, he feels he can get a deal with the leadership that's now in place. And whether or not that's true is a separate question. But it seems like, for now at least, there's been an informal truce. No attacks around the region for at least the next few days while the funeral is ongoing.
Yeah, and I can't imagine what that would do to talks if they did decide to launch an attack. Meanwhile, let me play some sound for you because the president is saying that the war is over. Take a listen.
I've been there for 4 months. And what have I done? I've defeated them militarily. They're totally defeated militarily. It's really the denuclearization of Iran. This is not a war per se.
Yeah, what do you make of that line? This is not a war per se. And is there really a difference between what the president is talking about and an actual war?
So I think, right now we're settled into something like a Cold War. Obviously, there's a ceasefire in place, but it gets broken periodically because a lot of the issues over which the two sides fought in February and March are still sort of open issues. Missiles, Hormuz, Lebanon, things like that. And Trump saying that he's pursuing the denuclearization of Iran. Trump has made clear since the war was over that he is that's the main focus of his diplomatic efforts. So I think right there you can hang on those words to really believe that. I think I would be surprised at this point if the United States intentionally returns to major conflict with Iran. I think that you could see more of these tit for tat back and forth like we've seen. But really, I think Trump has his eyes and mind set on trying to diplomatically get a deal where he can at least claim that he's prevented a nuclear Iran.
And, it kind of takes me back to one of those original press conferences that we saw War Secretary Pete Hegseth host with General Dan Kane, where Hegseth said, this is not a forever war. We're not going to enter into mission creep here. Do you think we've entered into forever talks with Iran?
I think we've re-entered forever talks. This is Iran's perfect playbook in their own opinion. They did it with Obama. They would have liked to do it with Trump in his first term. They did it with Biden, and they tried to do it with Trump in his first year of this term until Israel started the operation last summer. For the Iranians, they love nothing more than to drag out talks. especially if they can, in the process, convince the United States that there's no point in going back to war. And if Trump does not play that game, does not buy into Iran's playing for time, he would be the first American president to do that.
Well, it sounds like these talks aren't going to pick back up until after this funeral, July 9th. So we'll see where we are then and what this weekend has in store. Jonathan Ruhe, thank you so much, as always, for your analysis and joining me early.
Thank you. Happy 4th.
You as well.